Well, I've been seeing a lot of conversation go around lately that sort of functions as a recentering of substance, right? Sort of all these ideas branching off of, do you really want that thing out there, or do you just want people to see you have that thing out there? That thing can be whatever you want it to be, right? Maybe it's a flashy career, maybe it's a, I don't know, being an artist or a pop star or something like that, right? And I want to say I do appreciate this conversation, right? Because I think it like eloquently brings two things really back to focus here, right? Like almost a question of one, are you doing what you're doing for yourself? And two, refocusing like just or not refocusing, but defocusing aesthetics from things, right? Because so much of what we do now is so oriented around aesthetics, right? It's not, now it doesn't really matter, like if you go out and you do something worthwhile if it doesn't look cool in like an aesthetic montage on Instagram, right? Like the things that get the most attention are all these very aesthetics focused things. And for that reason, I really do appreciate that. I also think it is an important question to be like, okay, this thing you want is something that only, you know, let's say it has a final product to it, that's only like 1.1001% of the time that's gonna happen, right? So like, if you think something's cool just because it looks flashy, I don't think it is good, right? I don't think it is good to chase that thing. And in this time where everything is now focusing on what this strange contorted aesthetic version of something looks like, I think it's a good conversation to have. I think it's good to refocus things on like, no, this is what really happens. I also think it's good because as somebody who does, you know, so many random things in my own life, I do find that sometimes like you feel a little bit crazy, right? Like especially when you're seeing you just spent like 5 hours grinding something out, and then you know that can be a piece of art, you know, you're starting a company, whatever it is, you know, you're grinding out one of the least glamorous parts of something, and then you look on Instagram of somebody like being like, day in my life as a 7-figure entrepreneur, and they're like, wake up, like go to the gym for 8 hours. Like it's like what am I doing here? You know, like at 3 a.m. I just got done spending so much time on something that made me feel terrible. Like maybe I'm just trash, you know? So like, I really do appreciate that. I think that's really good. And I wish that there were more conversations that did cut through the noise in this regard of being like, you need to focus deeply on what you want, not on what looks good. I think also, I don't know why I'm just piling on more and more reasons I like this conversation here, but I think also it's a good conversation to have because so many things come with like a million stigmas on top of it, right? Like whatever you want to do in your life. Maybe you're like, I want to be a doctor. Even that has good things attached to it. Like if you're like, I want to be a garbage man though, you're told by everybody like, that's crazy, that's an insane thing. That's the most insane thing ever. The reality of the situation, of course, is like we need the garbage men just as much as we need doctors. Like nothing is actually more or less important than anything else, you know? So like I think it's good to recenter in a world where we're so focused on how things appear. I think it's good to recenter, like, no, do what you want to do. Focus on not the appearance of things, but what they mean to you, right? And I think that's awesome. I'm also like deeply annoyed by this conversation though. Like I find it super unproductive because I think that it's like there are a couple things that I do like about it, as I just said. I think there's a lot to like about it, especially for me as somebody who does something like what I do every day, right? We're working on these things that are oftentimes like even something like this, like painting is something people are like, that's super, like so many aesthetic videos of it online, and like of course as somebody who's like has destroyed so many brushes trying to clean them, like yeah, I love the idea that like, oh, it's not about the aesthetic of it, it's about really grinding that out. Like I like, you know, there's something that appealing about that. But like it's such a, outside of the people who are already in it, who already know that, who already have learned this lesson, it's kind of just like useless and unproductive. Like it's kind of just not, it's not really good at all. It's not leading to anything good. I think if anything, people know that. Like I think that the idea that there is some hypothetical person out there who has been grinding through the tough parts of something, and they realize like, man, I don't really want it. I just want other people to see I'm having it. I think they would have stopped a lot sooner. Like, I don't think that person's really making it in. And also, if they are making it in, if this hypothetical person out there exists who is in it because they want other people to see them have it, fine. Like, clearly they like it somewhat. Like, clearly that's a fine reason to get into something. Like, clearly they're doing okay. And I don't think we need to have a conversation around like, you're not really about this thing, because who's to say? Who's to say they're not really about that thing? If you were like, I think this is me. This is something I actually did. I was like, being a producer, being a DJ, it seems so cool. It seems so, I mean, every white man in America has done this, and Berlin. They're like, being a DJ seems like the coolest thing ever. So they open up, for me it was GarageBand. I didn't have the money to invest in anything better. And I was like, wow, I'm gonna cook something up here. Within an hour, I was off that thing. And that's how it works for most people. If you're like, I think this thing looks cool, I'm gonna go try it. Because you're not actually like in love with it. You're not actually like deeply into it. You just thought it was cool and you're trying. But there's also probably, for every white guy in Berlin that does that, right? For every white guy in America that does that, that's like, being a DJ looks so cool, and they open it up. 1 out of 100 probably is like, wait, I do love this, and then they're amazing at it. And that's great. The idea that there's any better or worse reason to do something is wrong. I think it's just wrong. I don't think it's something that we need to perpetuate. I don't think it's something we need to say. If anything, think we need to say more that everybody should do anything they want for any reason. Like, I think that I know in my own personal life multiple friends that are explicitly jealous of other friends for having a hobby. Like, just like flat out, because they are so busy that they've just had it in their head, like, I don't have time to do anything. And because of that, I mean, obviously everybody looking in is like, you do have some time, like you could sacrifice 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, you could stop scrolling a little bit, but none of that matters, and rightfully so. They're just like, I'm so busy, I work all day, and then they scroll a little bit at night, and they watch some TV and they go to bed, they're too tired to do anything. And if, let's say this person is like, they already have a million reasons to not try anything, to not do things, because, their soul's being sucked out of them by their job. Why, on top of that, would you give another reason not to do something? No, go do it. Maybe you think that like being a crochet content creator looks really cool. Go do it. Why not? Like, what do you lose? What do we lose by having more people do something because they think it looks cool and quitting? We lose nothing. We lose nothing at all. Like, it's a idiotic idea that this is something that we should ever perpetuate, right? Or even the idea that like, oh, you're only into this for the aesthetics of it. There's so much more to it than that. You're not seeing the real grit and grime of it behind the scenes. Like, I don't care. Like, like, even something like this. Let's say I'm like, oh, you think it's cool to paint in a liminal beige space every day? Well, I actually have to edit for an hour after this. Like, okay, like, it's so like, it's such a dumb idea that there should be any reason we discourage anyone from doing anything. If you don't like the annoying part of something, so you stop doing it, cool, yeah, you like, the reality is somebody who's like that probably isn't, yeah, sure, they're not gonna make it as far as the person who's ready to put their head down and like grind at it, but that's anything. That's how things work. Like, and this hypothetical person out there too, who's doing all these things because they think it looks cool to other people, I'm willing to go as far as saying that just doesn't exist, right? Like, even if you started doing something because you think it looks cool to other people, if you're still doing it, like, months and months later, clearly you like it. Nobody gets all the way off doing it because they think it looks cool to other people, right? Like, it is great. I still, like I said before, I do agree with what I said at the front of this video, that like, there's so many stigmas around things, and I think it's nice to remind people, like, do it for yourself. But I think that only works if you're doing that in a positive direction. I don't think that works to discourage at all. If somebody was like, you want to be a pop star, well, you just think it looks cool. Yeah, that's why everybody wants to be a pop star. Not everybody that does that ends up being one, but that's how it starts, right? Like, I don't know, it just, I think we need less discouraging of anybody doing anything, and I think we need to recenter everything around just do whatever you want. You know, maybe you do it once and you put it down and you're like, I'm never going to do that again. Cool. Like, what would you lose? I mean, like, same thing with like travel. People are like, I don't want to travel there. And it's like, let's say you go across the world for 2 weeks and you hate it. Okay, you go back home. Like, but now you know. And I think so many things need to work like that. Yeah, try things because you think they look cool. Try things because you're like, you know, this guy on Instagram does this and I think it's awesome. Maybe that's how you discover the thing that it fulfills you for the rest of your life. Maybe it's nothing. Who cares? Genuinely, who cares? We need more doing in general. Like, I think everything should just be, I think we need to recenter all these conversations. Like, yes, do I appreciate this is cutting through a lot of the aesthetic stuff out there to get to the substance of things? Totally. But I think we forget that the substance of things is so often just about do whatever you like doing. And that's what the conversation needs to be refocused about, in my opinion. So that's just my 2 cents on it. This is the painting. You know what I always do with these? I always try to add a fuck-ass shadow, and it ruins everything. And that's what I did here today. And like, I like this. Like, I think like I use instead of like when I'm doing reds, right? I'll take like a red and I'll mix in a little black for the darker red, right? For the yellows though, I just use yellow and then I use an ochre and then I use brown, right? They're on the palette, trust me. Why did I just, why? Okay. I don't know why I did that. I don't know in what reality they wouldn't be on the palette over here. Now it sounds like I have paints just loose on a table and I'm trying to like cover that up. But I don't know what compelled me to tell you that, as if you didn't see me just paint with them for 10 minutes. I don't know. I don't know what that just was. I don't like it. I mean, but like, it's fine. I don't even know. Check it out on TikTok and Instagram. And until next time, guys, gals, and pals, my name is Max Dice. This has been Paint and Talk episode 251. I'm here every morning, painting and talking with you all.